Greetings, Guardians. This is Olympus Alliance. And today we talk about something many newer players have been asking constantly. Teams. Not the teams requiring every limited hero. Not teams that demand years of preparation. Today we talk about foundations. Because Guardians. Hero Wars, Alliance works exactly like life inside Dominion itself. Some players leave. New players arrive. Others return after months away full of energy wanting to start again. This cycle never stops, and because of that, one question always returns. Where should I start? And Guardians. Today this video is for you. But before we begin, there is something important I want you to remember. These are beginner teams. Not because they become weak later. Not because they stop functioning. But because these teams create foundations that continue helping your account for a very long time. Because the truth is, once you eventually reach higher levels and your teams begin approaching 650,000. 700,000 power. Sometimes one hero swap or two hero swaps completely transform a team into something new. Meaning, you rarely lose what you build. We do not. You do not. Every hero has value somewhere. And if you need additional help, remember, Guardians. We already have many low-cost guides available in our playlists. So let us begin. Our first team is honestly one of the easiest recommendations possible because it combines accessibility, faction synergy, shop availability, and one extremely important thing. Speed. Team number 1. Corvus, Dante, Morrigan, Iris, Octavia. Guardians, this team works because almost everything inside Eternity feeds something else. Corvus creates protection while simultaneously punishing enemies for attacking. Morrigan supports him perfectly by preventing healing while generating skeletons that help create pressure and stability. Dante then becomes your main physical weapon, pushing enemies backwards while scaling harder and harder throughout the fight. Then we arrive at the discussion many players have recently. Octavia. Because Guardians, lately many players immediately think Iris has damage over time. Damage over time hurts dodge. Therefore Octavia became useless. No. Absolutely not. What changed is not Octavia's value. What changed is that players finally discovered situations where Octavia is not automatically the answer to everything. Because Guardians. Octavia still creates enormous dodge for the team. Octavia still reflects received damage. Octavia still increases energy generation. Octavia still creates survivability. And most importantly, Octavia still gives time. And time is exactly what this team wants. Because more time means Dante attacks more. More Dante attacks means more pressure. More pressure means more debuffs. More debuffs mean more Iris damage. And Guardians, remember something extremely important. Iris inside Eternity becomes terrifying not simply because she exists. She becomes terrifying because Eternity continuously feeds her. Corvus reduces defenses. Dante reduces stats. Morrigan creates pressure. Everything continuously creates opportunities for Iris. So no, Guardians. Octavia did not lose value. She simply stopped being a hero you throw everywhere blindly. And that is very different. Now let us move toward Team 2. And Guardians, this is another structure that almost builds itself naturally while also remaining extremely useful much later. Julius, Judge, Isaac, Folio, Polaris, Immediately some players will look and say, Polaris is difficult. Guardians? Polaris may actually be one of the cheapest heroes in the game. Because Polaris does not initially require enormous investments. You obtain Polaris. You focus heavily on her 4th skill. And immediately the magic begins. Now let us understand why. Julius creates shields. Judge creates shields. Isaac creates shields. Already beginners obtain something incredibly valuable. Survival. But survival alone is not enough. Judge continuously creates stuns. Judge pushes momentum. Isaac disrupts enemies. Progress heroes continuously create control. And this is exactly where Polaris becomes ridiculous. Because Aurora Borealis continuously activates. Progress heroes receive enormous magical amplification from Polaris. Non-progress heroes still receive huge bonuses. And now look at Folio. Folio already produces enormous magical damage. Folio already works around magical critical hits. Now suddenly that damage receives additional amplification. And Guardians. Big numbers become much bigger numbers. This team works because beginners obtain something extremely important. Protection. Control. Consistency. And consistency wins battles. Finally. Team 3. And Guardians, I want to be clear. This team is not here primarily because of PvP. This team exists because resources win accounts. Dust. Artifact resources. Blue spheres. Titan progression. Hydra rewards. All of these matter enormously. And Team 3 destroys Hydras. Mushy. Zesha. Faceless. Aiden. Martha. This team works because it continuously scales. Mushy creates additional targets and pressure. Zesha converts health into absurd damage amplification. Faceless creates flexibility while copying key abilities. Aiden continuously stabilizes the team. Then Martha arrives and creates the one thing this team loves. Time. Because Guardians, this team is slow. Very slow. But that is exactly why it becomes devastating. Longer fights benefit Mushy. Longer fights benefit Zesha. Longer fights benefit healing cycles. Longer fights create gigantic damage numbers. This is why Hydras disappear. And Guardians. The beautiful part. Later, with a few adjustments, you suddenly obtain another PvP team too. And this is the point of today's video. Build foundations. Build smart. Build things that continue giving value. Because the biggest beginner mistake is rarely building weak heroes. The biggest mistake is building random heroes. So Guardians. If you want speed. Eternity. If you want consistency. Progress. If you want resources. Hydra teams. 3 directions. 3 foundations. 3 teams capable of carrying enormous parts of your journey. Stay tuned, stay sharp. And as always, salute and friendship.